Buzz YouTube, how's it going, everybody? Got for y'all today another 6th Gen Wi-Fi battle. I know I haven't uploaded in the past couple of days, but much like before, I'm just really busy with college. I got homework, projects, and I also have a job, as well as me training different teams that I can use. That way you guys don't get bored of me using the same team in like every video or like back to back to back. And just, yeah, I will hopefully try to upload a bit more consistently starting around December. Just the next couple of weeks are going to be really busy for me, mainly college and all that stuff. But yeah, anyways, I don't want to ramble on too much. Although one more thing that I'm going to be doing actually is 6th Gen PS Lives, because I noticed that Showdown finally fixed their 6th Gen stuff and they have a 6th Gen OU ladder, I think, on there. So I'll probably be doing that. But before I start uploading that, I actually have one final PS Live in 5th Gen that I did with Blame Truth that I plan to upload before my 6th Gen Showdown Live. So the sooner I upload that, the sooner I can start my 6th Gen Lives. And yeah, I know a lot of you really did enjoy my 5th Gen PS Lives, so hopefully y'all will enjoy my 6th Gen PS Lives. Anyways, today's battle is against, I believe, a subscriber of mine. Unfortunately, I do not know his YouTube channel, man. I don't know his YouTube channel. So whenever you see this man, just leave a comment down below and I'll make sure to add your channel link down in the description. Now, looking at his team, I noticed that he didn't have a stealth rocker, which is something I am against. I'm not knocking him for it. But the only real threat I saw was going to be the Ampharos, and that's only if it turns out to be the Mega Evolution, because as you can see from my team, Focus Blast, Dragon Pulse, and Thunderbolt just really destroys my team, especially if he turns out to be an agility variant. So I really have to watch out for that. But if he turns out to have Mega Alakazam or Mega Scizor, I should be able to deal with those relatively easily. Then Noivern and Haxorus really are not too big of a problem, just because I do have Togekiss, which is now a fairy type, and then he has Greninja, which I guess could get up spikes, but I'm not really too worried about that either. Anyways, with that, let's get the battle started. Alright, so I'm going to be leading off on my Rotom, as he's going to be leading off with his Scizor. Now, hoping that he would stay in and go for the U-turn, what I'm going to do is actually go straight for the Will-O-Wisp. But no, he does end up making the smart play and hard switches out directly into his Ampharos. Unfortunately, even though Will-O-Wisp is 85 accuracy in 6th Gen, of course, I still miss, but it's not too big of a deal because I'm hoping that he's not going to end up Focus Blasting this turn as I switch into my Tyranitar, which unfortunately, the only thing on my team that can even take a hit from Ampharos is my Tyranitar, as it does turn out that he is the Mega Ampharos variant. He's going to make a very smart play, go for the Focus Blast, predicting me to bring in my Tyranitar. Thankfully, he ends up missing the Focus Blast, which I guess makes up for me missing the Will-O-Wisp. As this turn, I'm going to end up going for the Rock Slide on the off chance that he did want to stay in and go for the Focus Blast again. That way I could just start wearing down the Ampharos. But no, he does end up making the smart play by switching into a Scizor. In hindsight, maybe should have gone for the Stealth Rocks, but if he had stayed in a Focus Blast, Rock Slide definitely would have been my better play. Now, obviously, I don't want to take a Bullet Punch or a U-turn, so I switch into my Excadrill thinking, hey, I can take this U-turn, right? No! That's just about an easy 3-hit KO, which I was really surprised about. So either my Excadrill has very bad defense and HP IVs, or that's just a very strong Scizor, which means he's more than likely is Choice Banded. So he brings in the Haxorus. As this turn, I make a bit of a dumb play, and I end up hard switching directly into my Togekiss, and he makes a very good play, predicts that, and double switches into his Scizor. Obviously, I should have stayed in and gone for the Earthquake, and yeah, I don't really know what I was thinking, because I'm pretty sure I'm faster than Haxorus, even if he was for some reason Scarfed, and I would have been able to knock him out with the Earthquake. As this turn, I'm going to predict him to be faster than me. That way I can paralyze whatever he wants to U-turn now into. Unfortunately, Scizor is slower than me, and I end up paralyzing Scizor, which really isn't going to be beneficial to me in the slightest, unless he does end up getting paralyzed later in the game. And it would have been really nice to paralyze his Mega Ampharos, because this thing is a giant, massive threat. As this turn, I'm hoping that he's either going to go for the Thunderbolt or the Dragon Pulse, predicting me to switch out. That way, I can bring in Tyranitar, take the Focus Blast, and possibly get off a huge hit with Rock Slide, if not, maybe take him out. But he turns out to have the Agility, which, at this point, I thought to myself, well, fuck, I'm swept, because I don't think I can knock this thing out with a Rock Slide unless I get a crit. So he's going to go for the Focus Blast, and he misses, thankfully. As I go for the Crunch, I end up getting off a decent bit of damage, and I actually thought that Rock Slide was stronger than Crunch, which is why I kept saying Rock Slide, because that's what I was thinking, but it turns out that Crunch is I think actually the same base power has better accuracy, which is why I went for it. But either way, thanks to the fact that I have the Choppal Berry, I'm going to be able to take the Focus Blast, allowing me to go for the Pursuit, because I thought that he would want to switch out. But he ends up staying in Focus Blasting as I get a crit with the Pursuit. I highly doubt this crit mattered, just because this turn what I'm going to do is switch into my Aegis slash however you pronounce it, thinking that he would go for the Focus Blast again, but no, he does make the better play, predicts that and goes for the Thunderbolt. And what I'm going to do is actually go for the Shadow Seek this turn, and this Aegis Slash is max attack with max IVs and max EVs with a plus attack in nature. So even if I hadn't got a crit with the Pursuit, I'm pretty sure I would have brought him down to the point where my Shadow Sneak would have been more than enough to knock out this Mega Ampharos, which is why I'm saying the crit probably did not matter. Although those Focus Blast miss probably did end up playing a huge role in me being able to take down this Mega Ampharos, because that is literally his biggest threat gone, which is just really good for me. As he brings in the Greninja, I'm thinking that he's probably just going to go for Lair Spikes or go for the Dark Pulse. So what I'm going to do is switch into my Rotom, knowing that if he does go for Dark Pulse, I will be able to take the hit. But he actually ends up going for the Surf, I guess maybe predicting me to bring in my Tyranitar, which really isn't a bad play at all. I'm going to reveal to him that I'm actually Scarfed, and I know it's very weird to have Scarf Will-O-Wisp, but I do have Trick on this Rotom, and just at the time, it sounded like a good idea to me because I can trick off the Scarf, then burn things with Will-O-Wisp, or as you saw here, make them think that I'm not Scarfed and then Revenge Kill. And I'm able to get rid of the Greninja, which means if he did have spikes on that, I no longer have to worry about them. As I Volt Switch into my Togekiss, he's going to end up bringing in the Scizor. And I completely forgot about the fact that Steel is super effective against Fairies, which is why I stayed in. And that's an easy 2 KO, but it's not too big of a deal just because this turn I will be able to switch into my Rotom, because I do 4 times resist the Bullet Punch, and then I can go for a Hydro Pump, I can go for a Volt Switch, or I can go for a Trick, just really anything that I want to do. And he's going to end up wanting to save his Scizor for later on in the game, as he makes a bit of an odd switch by switching directly into his Noivern. I guess maybe he thought that he didn't need it, or he thought I would go for the Hydro Pump or Will-O-Wisp, which I guess is understandable, but this Volt Switch seems to be an easy 2 KO, so if it comes down to it, I will be able to knock him out later in the game with my Rotom's Volt Switch. And I end up Volt Switching into my Tyranitar because I know at this point, Excadrill with the Sand Up should be able to outspeed his whole team and potentially one-hit KO it, as he misses another Focus Blast. Apparently, they made Tyranitar dodge Focus Blast in 6th Gen, and the fact that I got off this Pursuit damage, I don't think is really game-changing. I mean, it did matter just because I severely weakened his Noivern, but again, I don't think it's game-changing because either way, I would have been able to bring in my Excadrill, and then I could have Rock Slided to knock something out on his team, or Earthquake the following turn, and just, yeah, we can theory him on as much as we want, but just in the end, he unfortunately missed Focus Blast. I hit Pursuit, and I knocked him out with a Rock Slide, so I'm able to get rid of the Noivern, as this turn is going to bring in the Haxorus, and here, I finally make the smart play, and I actually stay in on the Haxorus, knowing that I should be able to knock him out with an Earthquake, as he actually tries to play the same move that he did earlier by double switching into a Scizor, predicting me to bring in my Togekiss, and I'm able to knock him out with the Earthquake. I get a crit, which obviously did matter because, I mean, I'm an Excadrill. And then this turn, the Sandstorm is going to end, and I guess this is where him missing Focus Blast actually helped him out, because he was able to waste another turn of my Sand, which means his Alakazam will be able to easily outspeed my Excadrill and knock me out with the Shadow Ball. As I bring in my Aegislash, I'm really hoping that he is not Focus Sash, because for some reason, at the time of the battle, I thought, alright, Scarf Rotom is not faster than Alakazam, and my Rotom is severely weakened, so he can easily knock me out with the Psychic. Unfortunately, of course, he does have the Focus Sash, and he's going to be able to knock me out with the Shadow Ball. And with Steel type losing their resistance to Ghost and Dark moves, the Shadow Ball is super effective and is going to be able to easily knock out my Aegislash. As I bring in my Rotom, I was really hoping that I was faster than him, but after the battle I actually did the math, and of course Scarf Rotom is faster than Timid Alakazam, so just, yeah, I don't really know what I was thinking during this battle, but he ends up making the safe switch into his Haxorus, predicting me to go for the Volt Switch, also maybe predicting me to go for the Hydro Pump, but in the end, just a Volt Switch is definitely my best play to do. As this turn, I end up Volt Switching into my Dragonite, and I know you might find it odd that I switched into my Dragonite, but the main reason that I did this was because I wanted to see if he had Dragon Claw or Outrage. As it turns out that he has Outrage, this is going to be my perfect opportune moment to be able to bring in my Togekiss and get off a Roost, because at this point, if my Togekiss is at full HP, I know I should be able to take any one hit from the Alakazam and paralyze him with a Thunder Wave or knock him out with the Air Slash. So what I'm going to do is just roost up, as he unfortunately is going to end up going for the second average because he is locked into it. Then this turn is going to go for the Brick Break, and this is really sped up because there's not really anything else going on besides me trying to paralyze him and knock him out with the Air Slash. And he keeps going for the Brick Break, which tells me this is his only other offensive move, because I don't think Haxorus gets Stone Edge. I think it gets Rock Slide, but I'm not entirely too sure. Either way, I'm able to get rid of the Haxorus, and at this point his last Pokemon is the Alakazam, and as I said, with me being at full HP, even if he gets a crit as he does here, I'm going to be able to live and go for the Thunder Wave, because in the end Thunder Wave is definitely the safest play I could have done, and it turns out that he has Synchronized. So if I had got on my Stealth Rocks earlier in the battle, I wouldn't have been able to finish off this Alakazam. But just, yeah, in the end, it's not really going to be entirely too game-changing because it's going to knock me out with a Psychic, and then I'm going to be able to bring in my Rotom and revenge kill him with the Volt Switch, and that's going to be the narrow 1-0 victory in my favor. And I'm not going to lie, this battle ended up being a whole lot closer than I thought it would be. Luckily, though, it did turn out to be a very fun battle. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it, and if you did, make sure to leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe to some more content. As I said, I will hopefully try to upload a bit more consistently for you guys starting around December once I finish all these projects. And yeah, that's really all I have to say, guys. With that, I will see y'all soon, hopefully, and I am out of here. Later, everybody.